Good morning. Oh, wait a little bit, see who else joins.
Ah,
Hi, cool. How you doing?
Hi there, Brian. I'm good, thank you. How are you? Uh,
Yeah, this is one of the challenges of this work stream. It's typically not been that well attended, so I'm kind of, do I keep on doing stuff or do I not keep on doing stuff?
uh-huh.
So, Hojin, which group do you work at Sam? Do you work in the CXL team at Samsung?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, Hojin, I can't hear you if you're speaking.
Yeah. So I'm Samsung from Korea,
Sorry,
Korea
I can't hear
side.
you very well.
Okay.
Oh, so you're calling from Korea. It must be late for you then. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I suspect I only have about probably 3 minutes material, but I think just to sort of preface this, uh, one of the challenges of doing this is everyone's interested in me collecting the data, but no one's very interested in deciding what to do next. Yes, but anyways, let me just go through this and I'll just give my talk and then we can perhaps have a further discussion. But let me share my screen here. Let's see here, desktop to it's PowerPoint. Okay, so can you see my screen? So Sakal, you were at the CMS Tech Day, right?
Yes, Brian.
Okay. And Hojin, did you dial in at all to the CMS Tech Day we had in April 9th in the US? Anyways, it might be challenging for you to speak so late at night, but I kind of there's a couple slides in here that I shared there. The overall impression I have is it's difficult for OCP to kind of directly fund um, academic research without the help of industry partners, and that industry partners themselves are already dedicated to things, as both Sakul and Hojin, you're probably aware too, that within the US there's things like SRC Jump 2.0, where millions of dollars are going in to support universities across 7 different centers. For the CXL place, there's the A Center and the Prism Center. And so, with those millions of dollars being spent, between Micron, SK, Hynix, Samsung, Intel, and everybody else, it's difficult to try to me at least, my impression has been very difficult to try to bootstrap any proactive funding efforts through OCP, even to the extent of small contests and things like that. That's kind of the backdrop, and so that's going to kind of dictate future directions. But I'll just go through my presentations at a high level, and we could talk in more detail. But anyways, whoops. So anyways, this is just the agenda. I won't go to that too much. Hojin, I don't know if you've been aware, but one of the things we've been doing in this work stream is to try to get as many interesting academic um, researcher presentations to present within the forum, and that we have a academic work stream, research working wiki, where posting those events. So, um, Heiner Litz from UC Santa Cruz. Oops, I forgot to put Santa Cruz, but UC Santa Cruz um, gave a presentation. Hojin, you're probably familiar with the CXL SSD stuff that was, I guess, partially started, to my understanding, by Pekka Michu, who was one of the former UC Santa Cruz PhDs who worked on that within the US. So Heiner gave a presentation on that. Last Friday, Daniel Berger was talking about um, new ways to kind of organize multi-ported devices to get some coverage without between devices without having to use the CXL switch. So hopefully, I'll be able to share those slides soon. I did post the paper, the Octopus paper that Daniel posted on archive, to the academic research workstream wiki. But when the video and the slides come online, I will post those slides. It was a very interesting talk, stimulated a lot of discussions. But again, it's like kind of a very one-sided thing. I'm sure they got their takeaways, but me as a service just try to provide, this kind of information to the rest of the industry. So next coming up, we have a paper by from Virginia Tech by Jin Shu and Wai Chang. This was an ASWAS paper. So if you've looked at the ASWAS CXL papers, there was a workload characterization paper that Wai Chang, I misspelled Wai Chang too, but that gave, and I actually was, because no, he wasn't part of A Center, but Wai Chang actually did reach out to me, and I had some input on that paper. So, and also he's working with Daniel Berger on some of the stuff. So, that's kind of the next paper that we have queued up. And so I'm kind of open suggestions if to people, what you think would be a good next CXL presentation. I know people coming from Korea might be challenging to give a presentation then. I am aware of one KAIST professor who's in the US currently, so I could certainly ask him. He's on sabbatical this year. Hojin, I don't know if you know Jongse Park from KAIST, but he's not, I guess, fully tenured, but he's an associate professor at KAIST and is on tenure for this year in California. And actually, I was just in California last week to meet with him. But does anyone have any other presentations. It was like I would think August would be the next meeting. What I've been agreed to with Manoj and Reddy was to have anywhere from 4 to 6 presentations in a year, probably closer to 4 than 6. But does anyone have any suggestions for who they would like to see to present to the CMS work stream or CMS subproject, excuse me? You guys are showing me a lot of trust. So no input. All right.
Okay, can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you, Hojin.
Okay. I changed the place, and
Uh,
yeah, actually, I heard the CMS Tech Day presentation because I attend that place.
oh, you were there
So
in person?
yeah, I attended.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't introduce myself to you. I didn't know that. So,
Yeah. So yeah, the Heiner,
Heiner.
he's present about the QEMU Shexel SSD,
Yep.
right?
Hmm.
So actually, I'm very interested in about the QEMU emulation, and I
Uh,
understand that he doesn't release the code at now, and after he po- uh, post the paper,
yes.
and he will is he having a plan to open the QEMU source code?
The impression I got was that he wanted the paper to be accepted first, and as a
Yeah,
party,
yeah, yeah.
then he might release it. What I recall, and I don't remember if this is true or not, but what I recall is it's his intention to release it, but like I said, I think it's post paper. But if you would like, I mean, I invited Heiner to come and talk. So if you need me to connect you with Heiner, I'm sure he'd be more than happy to talk to you about it. So, um,
Yeah,
Hojin,
yeah.
if you just send me, I'll put in the chat right now what my email is, and so let me see if I can find a chat though. Where's the chat box now? I'm sharing screen. Uh, bu- 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 oh, there we are.
Uh,
So I'm going to put my non-work email in here. This is kind of the email address I use for OCP related activities. And so just send me an email,
yeah,
Hojin,
yeah.
and if I can connect you with Heiner and just
Okay, okay.
get you in contact with him, and then you can discuss with him.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Sure, that's not a problem. And I'm glad you're doing that because as you heard from Heiner's talk, that they need help. Everyone, U.S. academics need help. Um, the Korean government is supporting their institutions very well, but the U.S. institutions are academic institutions are having their own set of challenges. I'm sure they'll, listen to be more responsive to some of your requests. So. But anyways, let me write it down too. Okay, so I guess let me know if you guys have any suggestions for papers. There's a bunch of academic conferences coming up, and I haven't looked at all the ISCA ones yet. All I know the papers have been published. But anyways, next
Uh,
page.
I
Yes.
was also I'm going to say about the same. So the uh, um, professor from UCSC who spoke, I think, last week also. So in the CMS work stream, I believe they would have good materials to uh, talk to.
Well, Heiner
But yeah,
spoke at the okay, so this is
uh,
so Heiner also got invited to talk in the AI hardware software co-design work stream because his
right.
work had an AI bent, but it's basically the same talk that he gave
Uh,
it at
okay.
CMS Tech Day. That was kind of my read on it, and I'm not quite sure why Hesham invited him, but Hesham is trying to have this initiative around neuromorphic computing. I'm also involved on that work stream too. I'm trying to, so that was all Hesham who's trying to drive a neuromorphic aspect within that, and then invited Heiner and independent of me. But it was effectively content-wise was the same presentation and the same person. So um yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
I mean, I suspect you guys, I mean, I think you already know Hyder and or other people like Rohit already have talked, or Ishan have talked to him. So, but anyways, yeah, if you need anything, Suckle, just let me know. But I think you're already connected with Heiner. But any other, so let me know if there's any other presentations that you want. Here's all the upcoming. There's a lot of conferences. HotOS is happening next week. ISCA, I haven't looked at the papers yet. OSDI, I know there's some papers that are slated for micro that's going to have some CXL involvement. VLDB I just put on here because it seems like one of the papers that oh my gosh, Grant, he lives. The uh, Daniel Berger mentioned the SAP HANA paper with CXL from last year's VLDB. I believe it's 2024 VLDB. So again, it's like, one of the people that everyone's touting about with CXL is in-memory database. A lot of those are Redis focused, and a lot of the examples that at least are given in academic papers are Redis focused. And if you spent some time in the database industry like I have, the Redis is more of a toy database as compared to something like an SAP HANA or Oracle or a SQL Server. So hopefully if you're watching for real, if you will, large database use cases, follow VLDB. Um, there's other things within open source, like some Apache Spark initiatives too that are going on that might be interesting for CXL, but I didn't list any of those. But anyways, Micro is going to be, you probably know, Hojin, that Micro is going to be in Korea this year, as well as SOSP, I think. So you're going to be getting a lot of people that might have CXL involvement coming to Korea. So that might be a good place for you or people from your team to interact. And, of course, there's supercompute. So Grant, I'm just going over stuff. Oh, Durgesh, you're here too. That's it. So, if there's anything I missed here, these I think are, and when I publish the PDF, these are all linked. So you could take a look at them. Like I said, ISCA papers I know are out. I'm aware of only, I haven't gone through the CXL. I know there's at least one because I was talking to a professor about that yesterday. Um, anyways, that's that. So this is kind of like a preface for the challenges. I did talk about things like SRC Jump and, people already investing tons of money within uh, academic collaborations for industry in doing research things around memory and CXL and things like that. This is another one. Hojin, just as maybe for you, since you might not be aware, there is a lot of the US academics are scrambling around trying to do this proposal for NatCast, which is done through NSTC. So it's part of the CHIPS Act. They formed this NSTC thing, and this is the latest CFP they put out there. And everyone I talk to are chasing after these dollars right now. And so this kind of adds the challenges for OCP to be sort of proactive within the CXL space in terms of providing funding and whatnot. But I just put it out here. If you just Google NatCast and scalable memory architecture program, you'll probably see the website and get more details from there. But like I said, I know a number of professors that are chasing after these dollars. So and this is what it takes to kind of do these sort of things around CXL. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. This effort that you're talking about, is this the new memory technology Chips Money Act, or is this? Yep. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
I don't know if this is the same one that we talked about, but every academic research I talked to is going out. I mean, I think Pankaj mentioned it, and I've talked to three or four different professors who aren't necessarily affiliated with things like SRC Jump that are going after this. It's just because of the dollar amounts. So
Right, but I thought this was like a hard silicon thing where like you had to be working on like a new type of memory device.
I think and it's up to system thing. That's the thing. It's a big initiative where you're looking kind of soup to nuts for memory devices as well as applications to utilize those memory devices. And so
Oh, okay. So this is different than what I'm thinking about. Okay, cool.
I think this is what it is. I think it's more than just the device itself. It's um but but anyways, this is the one that everyone's talking about and scrambling about. Um,
Sure.
and so I- yeah, maybe I got it wrong, but I like I said, I know many people that are involved in sort of more compute near memory kinds of things that are very interested in this. And of course, there's others that, like to your point, Grant, that are doing, near memory or in memory computations more along the analog space that are also involved in this too. Uh, so yeah, this is occupying a large part of people's times is going after these dollars here. So, um, anyways, this is just setting the tone for it. This is kind of what it takes to get the point of this slide was just this is what it takes to get academics interested in what you're doing. But anyways, so this is a slide I gave in CMS Tech Day. It's like, well, here's ways that um, CMS could potentially do certain things, but um, you know, that's why I put the first slide, the previous slide up, is that the academics tend to go for those dollars and everything else is kind of like anything that we could possibly put in together as a team. I'm not that optimistic about, but I kind of gave a at CMS Tech Day. And so Hojin, you were there. Actually, everyone was here. So you've already seen this slide, but if you recall, my pitches were like, well, where do you want to go? And how much do you want to spend? And my pessimistic takeaway is that the only way we're going to do anything is as a CMS group is whatever the OCP Foundation can provide in terms of either free passes to go OCP Global Summit or perhaps some sort of travel stipend or something like that. I'm not that hopeful that you know, people from, companies like Samsung or Micron will be giving, $5,000 to $10,000 for some of these things. So you have to correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my impression. So, and that's kind of sets up the next page. One of the things that Bijan suggested CMS Tech Day is kind of like a hackathon, and I'm like, so I talked to Bijan about this offline, and he's like, "Well, we had this thing. We did $5,000, and okay, that's good, but I'm also thinking about the amount of software uplift that needs to happen. What interfaces do you use? What's the challenge? That's a lot of work, and without an existing API or something like that, if anyone is more optimistic about it than I am, then or have some sort of, Grant, I don't know if you have anything where you could do like a Kubernetes game with a hackathon, with your stuff or something like that. I'm open to helping to support that and promote it. But I do think it's a pretty large undertaking because you have to deal with APIs. Where do you test and proof out some of the software? Do you have a co-location that you have supporting hardware? Blah blah, all these kinds of issues. So it's challenging, but I just explored it because Bijan mentioned it. But there's challenges with it. But if anyone is it would like, has a platform that they think that is a software platform that is CXL ready that you could do a hackathon in, that would be great. But
Yeah.
let me know. What's that?
Kemu is hackathon ready.
Yeah, and then the question becomes, what would you want to do? What's the contest?
Uh,
So, and you have CXL, and what do you want to do? And you provide a system that has CXL and QEMU, then what are you going to do? with it. And then is it worth the money? Then the university's point of view is like, well, you could do it, but what are you going to have people? You're going to have people in a room for 12 hours and see what they come up with, or it requires a lot of work and a lot of scope and things like that. So I'm open to supporting it. I don't think I'm going to be the one to driving it because I don't have anything to I don't know what the goal would be, but I was just
Wow.
continuing down the thread. So
Yeah, and honestly, Brian, I think a really great goal would be here's the tools, show us how to use it. Like, don't try to do as little as possible in the realm of what CXL is. Just like as far as you know it. But I think a really telling hackathon would be like, look, here's QEMU and how it does CXL device emulation, and we would love for you to do a soup to nuts application to CXL memory, and then talk about how you did it. And I think the chaos that comes out of that, and like the number of different ways that people were able to string together a user-facing application that uses CXL memory, would be instructive to a lot of people as to the lack of middleware support for CXL.
um, okay, well, let me go back one slide here. So is that a hackathon or is that a contest? Because, and then go back to, if I look at this contest, whoops, shoot, I don't have my pointer up. But anyways, for the middle column,
Yeah.
just to give you some sense of what that was for ASPLOS and, that Amazon and Google did. This is the scope. So,
Yeah.
what OCP supported for their hackathon, um, they said $5,000. Do you think that's enough to attract students to go and play with this thing? Maybe there's things we could do like, okay, and first prize and and we would need our friends from Samsung or Micron to help out and a CXL card or something like that.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be some additional incentive, but I think $5,000 is a little bit slow to incentivize that contest.
Well, I mean, it's a matter like, are you talking about a day of?
Well, that's all this thing needs to be scoped out, right? And
Yeah.
so,
I mean, look, like if the goal is like, we'll give you the play by play on how to set up QEMU, but you should be able to run this on your laptop, or like we'll get some VPSs set up. Like SSD nodes has like $10 VPSs, and they've got 8 cores and 32 gigs of DRAM. I mean, like I feel like OCP could come up with a few $100s for some VPSs day of, but like if 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 the grad student perspective was like, spin up some CXL QEMU instances and try to do the coolest user facing thing you can think of in a day, and then talk about it for $5,000. And then if like somebody manages to do something really cool, that's great. But like if the wide berth of the field is like, this was impossible, that's also very instructive for people.
yeah, so I guess let me put it this way. I'm not going to organize this. I don't
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't be the one to organize it. I just don't have the time to organize it.
No, I mean that's totally fair.
The,
I guess the
the
question is like, is that $5,000 sorted, or is that just like, if you? I guess what I'm saying is that like, is everything in place and somebody needs to drive it, or does
No,
stuff
no,
need?
no. This is just a data point for what was done in the past.
Okay, yeah. So like,
Uh,
so what you're saying is there's like a ton of work to make this happen right now.
I think so. I mean, it's
Okay.
everything's, I can't remember what their hackathon was, but it was yeah, I can't remember, but it was something. It wasn't like a full system kind of thing, right? It's like the minute you start involved in CXL, is the challenge of CXL. It's like, okay, what all the things do I need to worry about with respect to application software and dealing with the CXL-ness of things? I do think it's doable. I mean, I could certainly give advice on it. I kind of feel like that if we were to do something like that, we'd have to do it at an academic venue, like an ASPLOS or a Micro or something like that. Asphalts might be challenging, but even I think micro this year, they're already closing down planning what they're going to do, and that's in October. So it really does require like, this is the challenges of all this stuff is that it's a great idea, but then implementing it, there's all these logistic challenges, for it. And so, what I can help with is try to get, figure out what the OCP level support is for this thing, and then to try to help place it to a specific conference, because I think that's where you're going to get the best bang for the buck is, have one of these, workshops at, on Sunday of a academic conference, and then, okay, come at it. You got 6 hours, go to it, and see what you get out of it. I think it's a great idea, but it does require a lot of work, and I do think ultimately it's going to require some larger company to help sponsor it because, uh, I'm at a startup, you're at a startup. I can't spend the time. I have other things I have to deal with right now. Sakul Sakul dropped. So, but anyways, it's like I
That
said,
that tracks. Yeah, I guess my misunderstanding was that someone at OCP was already like, here's money, do a hackathon, but like that's not even the case.
no, it was Bijan's suggestion, and then Manoj said, "We'll write that down."
Oh wow, it sounds like Bijan should be on the call driving this then, huh?
That's not what OCP does. Come on.
No, I know. I know. I'm just being brave and calling him out because he's not on the call. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I understand the place that's at now.
So,
Okay.
like I said, I could certainly, what I can do is put out a call out, and then if some people want to, convene on this and decide that this is a good idea, but it's going to take a lot of work, and
Yeah.
so, um, so
Yeah.
yes. Okay. But let me, if anyone is here is interested in this kind of thing and helping to try to drive this, I can help enlist OCP support through the foundation. I can help advise what venue might be a good place to do this kind of thing. Challenge is going to be what industry support if you're already working in a large company and want to help support this, whether it be a memory provider or a server provider, then that's great. And then there's the issues of dollars and price size and stuff like that, again, the marketing aspects of it. But I, you know,
Well,
I, I have gone through this a couple times. Because I had been asked to actually do these kind of contest things before. So I have thought through this process a little bit before.
sure.
But ultimately it comes down to dollars and who can actually drive this thing. So
Right. Well, and they're driven by what's the value of the prize, right? So that's your first sub bullet point on challenges is what's the purpose of the hackathon,
yeah,
right?
and yeah. But I think that's what you can lower the prize if it's done in person at a academic conference. Right? The barrier to entry is much lower because they're already going to be there. So,
Yeah, no, I agree with that, but it's more like for getting the funding, you have
oh
to
yeah, yeah, exactly.
there's like somebody's going to be paying that money and they want to know why. So
So, anyways, this was proposed by Bijan, and by that I means I can go ask him for support if we want, but ultimately I'm not going to be the one to drive this, but I throw it out there in case anyone else wants to drive it, and if you don't, and if you want to have a side conversation about it, my email is in the chat and also on the academic Workstream wiki. So
what do you just for my edification, what do you think the soft window for this is? Like what's the
I think it depends on where you want to place it. Right?
I know, but with the academic season, what like you've got another 3 weeks to get people to commit before
I think
a lot of work.
realistically, early next year. I
Yeah,
don't think, you're going to be able to do it for like that's why I brought up micro. I know where micro is right now, and they're enlisting workshops and getting and it might the deadline for workshops might have already passed.
Yeah.
But I and that's one area I can potentially have some influence in getting it in, so that can help out there. But I think realistically, you're looking at next spring, so ASPLOS, URSS, something like that, or HPCA even. So.
Well, then when with the goal of doing this next spring, when would you need to start putting stuff together?
I
Or are
would
you
say
talking about
now.
like
I would say if you started now, you have a very small chance of getting it done this year, and it's more likely to be next spring.
yeah, okay. Yeah, makes sense. Thanks, Brian.
So, or we could, I mean, the challenge is ideally you could do it at OCP Global Summit, but how many academics come to OCP Global Summit, right? And so that's why, I purposely think that it's more, you get more benefit out of this hackathon at an academic conference. So.
Yeah, OCP is definitely an industry conference. Yeah.
Okay, so in lieu of everything else, assuming we can't get anything fun in, the other thing is that I still, am a firm believer in trying to connect industry with academia, even if the industry folks are doing it for their own purposes and not really trying to help other people out with this thing. And so my sort of tentative plan is to um, bring people in whether it be from US, Europe, whatever, I don't know. One thing I will advocate for from OCP Global Foundation, the OCP Foundation is to, if I get them in as speakers or panelists, then I could, perhaps ask for some sort of travel stipend to try to kind of widen the OCP reach, so to speak. And I also think there's US kind of has its ways, but I do think there's some interesting work going on in Europe as well as Asia too. So how do we get those people in to, meet people within the US industries and things like that? The other aspect, one of the other things I emphasize, which people might not be aware, is that there's people like I'll just throw out like Namsun Kim, who's you know endowed chair at a major U.S. university who's very influential, of course. But one of the things I try to encourage is those younger researchers or postdocs to get them connected to industry earlier too. So that kind of sort of colors some of my thinking about who to invite and things like that, because I think they are in a position to hopefully take more long-term advantage of certain of these things than other well-established people. So if anyone has any papers or names they're thinking of that might be potentially good invitees to this year's OCP Global Summit, which will be in October, mid-October. I don't remember the exact dates. 13th is 18th or something like that. But sorry, Grant, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's something. It's like mid-October. Yeah. I mean, the Keist folks are always doing cool CXL stuff.
Yeah, and this is one case where, like I said, Jongse Park is going to be he's going to be in the U.S. for the rest of the year, and I could reach out to him. But Hongjin, if you have any names, whether from Seoul University or from others that are in Korea, or the Keist folks. I mean, you have the Pamnesia folks that will likely be here for OCP Global Summit. Let me know. But like I said, I am trying to focus.
Oh, the Pamnesia folks don't need a stipend.
Well, but they are affiliated with Keist, right?
They are. Yeah,
You can
yeah.
make the same argument for like the Mango Boost people also. So,
Yeah.
So, but anyways, that's what I'm trying to think of. Not only just inviting US only people, that's kind of the bottom line here. So, if anyone has any suggestions, I do have some people like I know in Europe, like University of Edinburgh, Boris Grot, and there's some other people that are doing CXL related things, and they have challenges too. Just as in within the US, there's a big chase for research dollars. In Europe, they're just trying to find and make connections with people. Researchers in Korea a little bit easier because you have Samsung and SK Hynix right there in your area that you can reach out to. With the folks in Europe have more challenges, and to try to get access to people as well as hardware. So I'm trying to be cognizant of those things too. So if people have suggestions, let me know. I just mentioned Chloe because she just got the Ask Plus Best Paper Award for her CXL work. I think it's called CXL Fork, and it's actually a very easy reach out for me because she was the postdoc of Giuseppe Torellis at University of Illinois, who is the director of the SRC Jump 2.0 ACE Center. So, but that would be my first starting point. But if anyone else has any input or think that there's other people that are better within the U.S., let me know. So that I need to get moving on this pretty soon because, as everyone knows, the OCP Global Summit, people start asking for topics around June, I think it is, for the submitting papers and stuff like that for OCP Global Summit. So this is something I'm going to start relatively probably within the next couple of weeks, and reaching out to people as well as trying to figure out what kind of travel stipends I can get out of OCP Foundation. So get to me soon. And if you have any suggestions, and if not, I will make the choice unilaterally. But trying to keep in mind all these things as well as the topics that they would be presenting on to make sure we get good coverage within the CXL space. So any comments or questions on this? All right. And last one is just suggestions overall. Like I said, I think this Workstream is kind of a little bit of an existential thing. It's not a true Workstream. We're providing more like a service to OCP Global Summit. And ironically, people are generally happy with it and encouraging more, but aren't necessarily helping out with whether it be from a funding perspective or whether it be from a participation perspective. So, depending on people's interest, my kind of inclination now is to make this much less a, regularly scheduled meeting, is just kind of do things on my own and in the way that I think is best for the CMS community as a whole. But if you have any comments or questions or suggestions, then please do send me this. But I think the trend is to solicit less opinions and kind of to support just CMS kind of in the way that I've been doing for the time being. So that's all I have to say. Any comments?
I'm sorry, but could you share this material for the mail loop?
Yeah, I was going to post it after this call is done. I am going to download the PDF and upload it to the wiki. So if you don't know, let me see if I can find the wiki really quick. I guess I can post in the chat. So in case you don't know, there's a OCP CMS academic Workstream wiki, academia.
Mhm.
Let me see if I can dig it up really quick. Academia. Oops, not COP, OCP. Just post it in the chat. And so expect it to be there within 30 minutes after this call. So, and so here I'll put let me just share this really quick here. So this is the wiki that I maintain. Here's the list of presentations we've had, and at the bottom I'll just put presentation, the academic workstream meetings here in this link, and I'll add one for today for the PDF. So, all right, Hujin.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Well, thanks for your time, everybody, and like I said, if you do have any thoughts or suggestions, just let me know. Grant, I know you're not shy sharing your opinions, so let me know if you want to see something. So
Never.
all right, take care. Thank you for attending.
Thank
Thank you.
Bye.